And it's that time, Internet. It is that time. It's episode number 57 of Brothering Around. I am your host, Mr. Wes Gardner, Comedy Hobo. Joining me this evening, Mr. Todd EVF. How are you, sir?
Yep. I'm doing all right.
Good. No Marco.
Yeah.
But we replaced him with
He's too busy finding new mobile games to get us hooked on.
That's true, yeah. He's busy being the dealer, as it were, on these mobile games.
First taste is free.
That's right. He has the big trench coat. And we're like, hey, you want some mobile games, kids? I review them on my YouTube.
Fucking Marvel Strike Force. Jesus Christ.
We are both. Yeah, Todd and I just discussed it a little bit before going live. We're both pretty deep within Marvel Strike Force. But now here's the thing, and we'll go into Strike Force, but I have like 5 more games I downloaded. Just because I was like, oh, I guess there are a lot of games on the phone. Let me see what we have here. And it goes down a big rabbit hole. And we are blaming Marco entirely.
It is entirely Marco's fault.
100%. Because I'm not a phone guy. Like, I don't. I have a 3DS, I have a PSP, I have all these, like, Wii U to carry around and no, now it's the phone.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's between Strike Force and when waiting for energy to recharge, I'm playing Crazy Taxi Tycoon. Which is it's the game basically plays itself. Oh,
I love those. Those are my favorite phone games. My wife is like, why do you play a game that you don't play? And I was like, but you don't understand. It's so rewarding. And she's like, that doesn't make any sense because you don't earn it. But
all
you do
is
you
watch some ads, make sure your energy's your multiplier is good, and you let the thing do its thing. I mean, that's it.
Right. That's it.
Buy new cabbies. Scratch some autos.
Every game that has an auto button, auto for all of it. So I have Final Fantasy Record Keeper, the Magic the Gathering Bejeweled clone that they have, Final Fantasy Dissidia Opera Omnia, I guess it's called. I think Marco did a video on that one.
Probably.
One called The Alchemist Code, because it's almost like a Final Fantasy Tactics-esque game, but it plays itself, so it's great. Marvel Strike Force, then I got Hearthstone Magic 2015, and then a card game called Deck Heroes. I don't even know how Deck Heroes works. I just know that I have 87 decks, and I can hit one button and beat the computer all the time, and I'm like, great, I got more money. Great, I got more. It's not even a card game in my mind. It's just a fill up the bars and
it's
get
just
it going.
A tapper. That's all it is.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have Marvel Strike Force, I have Pocket Mortys, Crazy Taxi Tycoon, Amateur Surgeon Simulator 4, which was a Flash game on Adult Swim, but they actually released a mobile version of it, and it's actually pretty fun.
That's cool.
WWE Champions, which is kind of like a match 3 gimmick.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with the Doctor Who game, and then there was the Magic Kart Jump game, and there's another WWE game where it's a tapper. You just sit there and just make sure that your hand doesn't go completely numb while you're hitting the thing as quick as you can.
That's fantastic.
Trying to take down John Cena, who kicks at it too.
Of course, yeah, of course. Fuck it, give me the rub, Cena. Thanks for dusting me off.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I can blame Marco for me looking into mobile games.
Oh yeah, for sure. And here's the biggest blasphemy. And this actually, it's funny we brought up the mobile stuff because, like I told you before we recorded, I only have one main topic I kind of want to talk about. And I guess in a certain way it can kind of correlate to this. Okay, so you get really it could be arguable on the quality of some of these games. Yeah. I mean, game is a bit of a stretch, but it's one of those deals that this is the landscape of the phone market, because what game is incredible on cell phones? Final Fantasy Tactics: War of the Lions, amazing game, right? And I would argue that the mobile version of Final Fantasy Tactics is the best version of that game ever made, ever. Because it's responsive, it has no load times, it's an incredible game. You need to play it if you haven't. Viewers and listeners out there, one of the best games ever made, bar none.
Yeah.
It's $12 on the fucking phone.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So that's the thing. It's like, this is one of the best video games ever made in the history of the entertainment medium of interactive entertainment.
Yeah.
One of the top tier, like, beautiful, like, chef's kiss, wonderful games. $12.99, and I was like, no, sir. Because phones spoil you, man. Like, $2, and that's if I want to spend money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want free shit.
Like, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Like, playing Strike Force, I don't have to buy a single thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I do my dailies. I get my power cores, and I use that to refill my energy when I need shit. Like, that's
it. That's all you got. Like, nothing else. You know.
But then they do the little pop up. It's like, hey, for $39.99, you could get like all these.
And it's funny how they escalate them too by how long you played, because I remember the first like 3 or 4 hours I was level 6. I was getting my people together. I just unlocked Electra and I was like, I'm feeling good. Yeah. And then it's like, hey, for $1.99 you can get a nice little push here. We'll just get you some training chips, whatever they are. We'll get you a few of those. We'll get you some maybe armor. And I was like, okay, well, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to spend any money. And then I passed the like level 20 threshold. And it's like, okay, for $11.99, you can, and I was like, that's weird that the price went up. But now, like you're saying, $39.99 for a fucking packet of gems and no.
Let me see what the exact offer is, because it was just like, I looked at it and I'm like, even if I did spend money on this, fucking nope.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was just outrageous.
There's no... I guess games like this are made to get sharks, right? To get those people that no matter what, my time is valuable. I make $400,000 a year. You know what? I'm a head accountant at this giant firm or something, and I need 15 minutes to spare, but I don't want to wait 2 days for a cooldown. Sure, I'll spend $34.99 on a blah, blah, blah. Like, that's who they're hoping they get. But I ain't about that life.
No,
I am not about that life. Like, no way. And the moment, and here's the thing, I've been playing Marvel Strike Force less now, because now I'm at the part to where, well, I could use all my energy, like the little lightning bolt thing. Like, I could use all my energy and I'll do some of the dailies, but I already got Wolverine. Like, I'm hitting that threshold to where now I actually have to do a thing. I have to, like, well, I don't have enough stuff to level up my people. I think I'm, like, level 39.
Yeah.
And some of my people are still level 37 because I don't have enough of the training modules. Mm-hmm. But then with the training modules, they're like, well, you can go farm old things. And I was like, I kind of don't feel like farming.
But there's an auto win button, though. I mean,
even with an auto win button, I'm like, I don't know. This game's asking a lot of me to go back.
I hit a certain point in each one of the tiers where it's like the hero campaign. I think it's like I'm on chapter 6, like mission 2.
Gotcha.
And that's my last auto win. Everything after that, like, I actually have to do the battles. And I'm like, nope. No, I'm done.
No, this is my time.
The villain, I think it's like, what is it? Right at the end of chapter 4.
Yeah.
I can do like all of those with just hitting an auto win.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's that whole situation. But the thing is, it's like, I have to do, like right now, it's just like, oh, hey, your thing's refreshed. I'm like, that's great. That's awesome. I'm excited. And it's like, I got my challenges to do.
Yeah.
Which is an auto win button because I don't want to progress past level 5.
Nope. Nope.
Until I have all of them at 60, you know, all my main team at 60.
Yeah.
I'm level 56. My highest hero is, I think, Wolverine at 52. And he isn't even my top tier.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So you were talking about like, oh, well, I'm not even sure about doing the dailies. Well, when you do all the dailies, you get the shards. You get the Wolverine shards, which you use to rank him up, which also increases power. So it's
star
like,
ranking. Yeah. Gotcha.
So there's a few of them where it's like, oh, I really want to rank up my Luke Cage, and I really want to rank up. Like, I can't rank up my Thanos anymore. Like,
nice.
That's
Max,
because they're just like, Thanos will be back, but his raid's gone. So you can't get any of those fucking orbs to open up his infinity ball anymore.
It's like the Disney archive. They put it in the vault. Like, can't do this. Can't do Thanos anymore.
But so they just started a Deadpool one, which the raid is very, it's very intensive. Like, it requires 24 people. Like, I mean, it requires a full strike force to do. And it's like, so I'm in on that. And it's like, when we hit 33% completion, which I think Strike Force already did, I get something. And then when we hit 50% or something like that, I get something else, instead.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's scaling rewards. But I mean, the Thanos one fucking kicked the shit out of me. It was rough.
Yeah, I'm having even you know how you have to do like quests to get up to where you can do the raids and stuff? Some of those things are lying out of their ass because I'm level 39 and it's like, oh, this Deadpool thing's for level 19 plus. I was like, oh, great, I'm way above level 19. That's wonderful. And then you get KO'd in like 7 hits. And you're like, I'm like 20 levels above what this is supposed to be.
So, well, that's completely true. At the same time, like, you got to look at the heroes you're using, their power level, because your character level is completely independent. Like, it's just an arbitrary fucking number.
Yeah, right.
Which tells you how high you can rank up your other heroes. So
this is like a carrot and a stick.
Yeah.
If the carrot and a stick had a carrot and a stick, like. There's so many, like, with it, those Russian dolls that, like, just open.
The nesting dolls,
The nesting. This is all that is. It is just nothing but carrot and sticks that get exponentially smaller. Like, boop, 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 but, like, it keeps, like, compacting like an accordion. But yeah, anytime I get to, on a free-to-play game, anytime I get to a point to where it's like, oh, now I have to do something, I'm like, nah, I'm going to go play the other, because there's always another free game you can start. Because there's thousands of them. And
for me, though, it scratches that itch that I've been missing for a good superhero game. Marvel Strike Force kind of scratches that itch, and I'm excited about that. To me, it even looks like some of the assets they're using is what were used in Marvel Heroes.
They look really similar.
Yeah. And I was just like the Deadpool model looks different, but like one of the missions, I had Cable with me, who apparently we're going to be able to unlock in a couple weeks or some shit. And I was just like, that is Cable from Marvel Heroes. That is Elektra from Marvel Heroes.
Yeah.
Like that. And I'm just going down the list. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, what the fuck?
Right. Reusing assets.
Yeah. I mean, the company is not around anymore. So, I mean, GG.
Yeah, exactly. Sell it off to the Strike Force people, and then, you're good to go.
Well, the thing was with Marvel Heroes, when first off, their contract didn't get renewed by Disney Marvel. But part of that contract is Disney Marvel retains all the assets. So what happens is, and this is the way I look at it, they go, hey, you're working on a mobile game? We want it out pretty quick. Here you go.
Yeah, here's your farm of animations and character models, and, like, enjoy.
Yeah, and I mean,
build that shit in Unity.
Yeah, I mean, some of the characters we didn't see, like, we saw Crossbones in Marvel Heroes. Yeah. We didn't see Thanos, but they do have a Thanos. The Loki looks weird. I've fought up against him like once or twice in one of the things, and I mean, I'm at that point where it's like, have I gotten in too far with this?
Am I in too deep?
Yeah, because I mean, I will lay there in bed, much like your Tom Nook Bell's
Yep,
thing.
the dankness that has to happen at Tom Nook.
And I will sit there and I will run through an entire bar of energy and go, okay, I've done what I. Oh wait, I have power cores.
Oh, let me spin these. Yeah, I do too. I can play the games and then I'll like feel myself falling asleep. Like that's how it always works. I'm like, I like look around and was like, oh yeah, the thing. Click, click, click. And then like every night, even after we record this, I'm gonna go in and like it'll be 2 a.m. and I'll be like, yeah, I got my free thing. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be working on getting my next Wolverine upgrade.
Nice.
I think I'm like 20 chips or shards away from it. So it's like upgrading him, upgrading Hulk are like fucking pains in the ass. Like Hulk, you can only get through achievements. So you have to hit certain achievements to unlock the shards to get him. And one of them is like log in 30 days in a row.
Oh, shit.
And it's like...
So you miss one and then it resets that whole counter.
It resets the entire thing and you're like, motherfucker.
Yeah. Now I gotta do this shit. Yeah, now it becomes a chore.
Yeah, I mean, that's legitimately... But like my phone will buzz and it'll be like, hey, you have new energy like available, free energy. And I'm like, okay. And that's my login. So
nice. Yeah, I had to turn off notifications.
Yeah. Every 8 hours I get like a little thing. And it's just like, you got free energy. And I'm like, well, ain't that some shit? Let me do this.
Well, thank you, sir. And then click.
I really should be doing other things, but like I really should be continuing on doing this rebranding I'm doing, but
right.
I mean, I now have another 100 energy and Thanos needs a ring.
Right, he needs it. I mean, it's not up to me, it's up to him.
Yeah. I can't wait to make him a tier 1, like my tier 1 team. Like he's got this fucking sick like third attack. I think it takes like 5 or 6 energy to use it. But he just kind of like powers his hand up, jumps, and does like a shockwave attack on everybody, and he heals himself.
Oh, of course.
And like it's in the raid, it was hard because like he would do that, and no matter how low his health was, he was back up to full, like that cheating fuck.
Yeah,
you can't do that like this in the when you have them though. Like you get maybe a bar back, and you're like, really?
Oh my god! You're right. Yeah, it's not as good.
Yeah.
It's like
why did I grind for fucking Thanos? Like
it's like in Far Cry 2. That's still my biggest pet peeve about that game. It's like Far Cry 2. It had the weapons that would like wear down, and they would like jam and break and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you would have a weapon. And you're like, all right, I'm going to shoot this gun. Oh, well, it looks like it jammed. I'm going to throw it down. Then an enemy would come pick up the gun, and it'd work beautifully. Oh, bam, bam, bam. They go through clip after clip after clip. You kill that enemy, pick up the gun, second bullet, it jams. And you're like, okay. Okay, I mean, game.
It kind of reminds me of like Fallout 3 and New Vegas, where it's like you have the degrading weapons, which I loved. Yeah. I loved that whole thing. It's just like, but the thing was, it wouldn't jam or anything like that. It wouldn't jam, it wouldn't misfire. But the second that it degraded completely and you switched weapons, you couldn't use that again until you repaired it.
Shit.
But it degraded the amount of damage you did and everything, and I love that. I really wish they had thrown that into Fallout 4 and the next one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So today, in kind of random game news, I don't know how I was able to watch it, but I was. They did the full world premiere thing of Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Which is coming to, was it BattleNet?
Yes. So one big thing coming to BattleNet, I guess it is an Activision thing, so they can utilize that, and good for them. And number 2, no campaign mode. Like, no single player. None. And at first I was like, that's shitty. And then I thought about it a little longer. And I was like, that's a genius move.
Because nobody really plays the single player.
And it cost an ungodly amount of money. How many big time, big actors. Like they had freaking Norman Reedus, they had Kevin Spacey, they had Nathan Fillion, they had to do face scan, and we're gonna do these really dramatic performances and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Hundreds of millions of dollars, easy, in their campaign that no one played. You cut that shit out.
They'll still end up doing like the face scan shit for like their zombies mode because
Yeah.
I mean, people play that, but the campaign, nobody really.
Yeah.
I actually want to go to Twitch, like go to a Twitch channel where somebody is playing Call of Duty story mode. Mm-hmm. I highly doubt I will find it.
Right, like it might be me. Like I would be the person because I'm like, I'm so far behind on multiplayer. Let's play through the campaign or whatever. And I mean, it's a nice option to have. And I mean, whenever you had like Modern Warfare 1 and 2, those were great campaigns. Like, change the game. You know what I mean? Like, change first-person shooters on consoles. Like, Call of Duty's kind of fell by the wayside. Call of Duty actually really reminds me of Halo. In the fact that it's now not the jam anymore.
Yeah.
It's not the cool thing to play as a console shooter thing. It's all your Fortnites and your PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and that seems to be where it's going. And then, lo and behold, Treyarch is like, oh yeah, by the way, in Black Ops 4, we have a mode called Blackout. 100-player battle royale.
Yep.
I'm like, yep, makes sense. But here's the thing, a lot of people are like, oh, whatever, they're just piggybacking. I think there's a benefit of somebody like Treyarch doing that type of mode, is this will be the first true AAA studio to take a crack at battle royale. The servers are going to work better.
That's questionable.
We saw that with Black Ops 3, I think, was the one that didn't. It came out and it just flubbed.
Yeah.
But like the games are more stable. Like netcode is better.
Netcode's better. We'll have dedicated servers, which will probably melt for the first couple days.
Right. They'll have to expand them and stuff like that. But maybe the BattleNet stuff will help to get some of that Blizzard infrastructure for server farm, and
it'll help the PC crowd, but not so much the console crowd.
That's true. Yeah, and apparently the PC version was separately developed from the ground up by Beanox Studio,
which is good, I guess.
Yeah, right. Like make it, and they said it's already up to 4K ultra high def HDR. Like I think they said there's no frames per second cap. Like, so they did a lot of stuff. They're listening to like PC people. Like, come on, make it to where we can customize it the way it should.
Which is smart. It's something that should have been done a long time ago. Because how many times have PC players said like, "Oh, we need this and we need this," and we don't get it because. Oh, well, we're developing this for consoles, and we don't want people to have. We don't want there to be a big gap between the two.
Yeah, right.
If you don't want a big gap, then do what you want to do, but add crossplay.
Yeah, exactly. Right. If it's all going to be basically the lowest common denominator console, and then everything else is the same, like there's no reason to not have crossplay.
Yeah. Well, except Sony's bunch of bitches about it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do crossplay. Microsoft's like, we'll do it. I mean,
Microsoft's on board, man. They're like, let's do it. Let's go for it.
I remember we might have talked about this a couple months back, but Fortnite. So Fortnite did, they had said like, we want to do crossplay, and Sony's like, oh, it's impossible. Nobody can do crossplay between all three platforms.
Yeah.
And for like 6 hours, you could in Fortnite, and they were just like, we accidentally did a thing that allowed PC players to play with PS4 players, which also played with Xbox players. Welp.
Well, and it's so goofy because, like, I made the joke earlier about put it on Unity and kind of be done with it. But you have these game engines. You have Unreal, you have Unity, you have, what are some of the other big profile things? But, like, everything
can... all that.
Yeah, everything can run those. Like Unity, you can do freaking hell. You can freaking PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on your fucking phone.
Fortnite's on your fucking phone.
So, and it's pretty comparable. Like you look at the stuff and you're like, okay, I can see where they turned off some of the shadows and whatever.
Yeah.
But like, you can play a 30 frames per second version of Fortnite on your cell phone. What? Like, and you can't do crossplay? Like that's what blows my mind. It's like it's the same engine running essentially the same code. Hell, it might be the same code.
Yeah. I mean, most of the phone processors are more than comparable.
Yeah, and what do they call it? The same processor that's the Switch. It's like the Tegra.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like the chipset for this. Which, by the way, and we'll talk about this because I'm kind of jonesing for a Switch. We talked about the mobile game stuff, and we'll get to it in a minute. But the thing I saw, the Switch, I had no clue how little power that system draws.
Oh yeah, it takes like absolutely none.
9 watts. 9 watts, and you're getting freaking Breath of the Wild. You're getting like unbelievable. That is the tiniest bit of power draw maybe ever.
So this here right now is set at 115.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like, it's ridiculous. I'm trying to think, like, maybe this is 9 watts. Like, this little light.
Maybe.
Yeah. This is probably still about 12.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's outrageous.
The fact that it can run and it runs stable and, like, the Switch is kind of a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whenever you see how Nintendo was like, okay, let's take this down, and then it auto-docks, so as soon as you dock it, it comes back up in full 1080p or whatever resolution. Yeah. And then, while you're still playing, and there's no cycling or anything, let me take it off, and now it's on here.
Yeah.
I'm like, my brain has a hard time, like, really understanding how it all works, because
we've made a mobile console. That's what we've done. It's no longer a handheld. It's no longer a console. It's that hybrid that we've always wanted. That
they've tried to do for 25 years.
Yeah, and they finally pulled it off.
Sega used to do that shit with the Nomad. Like, you would get the Nomad. You could put the cartridge in the Nomad. Yep. Not only that, you could use it as a Genesis because it had the top model, had like the little video.
Yeah, it had the adapter for the. It looked like a 3.5 millimeter to.
Yes. It like you hook it up and you hook it up to the TV. Not recommended because the port was like that short. But
and it also had the controller port on the bottom. At least a couple of the models.
You could. That's true because you could do 2-player, same console. So someone has the Nomad, and then like Sonic 2, for instance. Someone's playing on the Nomad. Someone hooks up their like 6-button or 3-button Genesis controller. You can do split screen on the Nomad screen. Yeah. Then put it to your TV and do the crazy.
Sega had a great idea, and Nintendo was just like, "How can we do this?" Yeah. And it took them 25 fucking years.
Yeah, legit. I think the Nomad came out in like 1994, 3 or 4, ish. So right around the early mid-90s, and we're just now getting the dream scenario of like what that is. And you know, we've talked about how, and I think we mentioned this on it's probably been 4 or 5 months, but you can see Nintendo from the very beginning, from the regular Nintendo Entertainment System, working with the Game Boy, trying to hook they've been building up to the Switch. Every decision, if you look in hindsight, has been a thing to bring about what the Switch is. Because they wanted a Game Boy Advance. Well, now Legend of Zelda 4 Sword Adventures. Hook up all your Game Boy Advances to the GameCube. And then that way you have this separate screen that syncs up to this game that you're all playing at the same time. Like, that's the Switch. You know, and like the freaking Wii U kind of is a Switch. Like, it's just, it has 2 separate parts. You have a console over there, and then you have the controller with a screen. But then you have, 3DS, you have regular DS, you have your Game Boy Advance SP. It all they've been building towards that thing, and like I'm holding out hope that at E3 they announce the Switch Redux edition, or like here's Switch 2.0. It has the new Tegra chip in it, and it runs it a little faster, and the load times aren't quite as bad, and the load times aren't bad at all because they're all cartridge games anyway. But yeah, something like kind of how the 3DS had the 3DS XL. Mm-hmm. Those revisions, and your Game Boy Advance SP then had or your Game Boy Advance turned into the Game Boy Advance SP. Nintendo's notorious for doing second versions of whatever it is, like the Nintendo DS and then the DS Lite. I'm hoping we hear something at E3 about the Switch 2.0, like not a new console, but like the revision of, we heard your feedback and here's what we're doing. Because I will jump on board.
It would be nice, but we know Nintendo. Like Nintendo wait another year to do that.
Yeah, they'll probably wait until they know it's the year that either Xbox is doing the new Xbox or PlayStation's announcing PS5 specs. They're gonna wait to do whatever. What would be a monster hit, and holy shit, I would freak out. Because they've said that the Switch will not have a virtual console. They've come out and said it. There's no old games that you can buy and download and play on your Switch. It's not going to happen. However, with that Nintendo Online service, I wonder if they are going to find a way to do kind of an Xbox Game Pass, but for Nintendo shit. Like, they're like, oh, by the way, the Switch stuff, yeah, you can play this, but if you have this, almost like a PlayStation Now, I guess. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, be part of Nintendo streaming service and play all of your Nintendo 64 emulation stuff, all of your GameCube, anything on the Wii. Just play it on your Switch, and you could do it. And I would.
But why would they do that? Considering that in June they're going to make sure that the NES Classic and the SNES Classic are available through at least the end of the year.
That's true. And me being a fucking mark, I'm going to get the NES Classic.
Well, you missed it the first time because it sold out in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. And then all the scalpers had pyramids of them.
Yeah.
Only for $300.
Yeah. It's a $60 thing. Like, why is this so expensive?
Outrageous. And dude, I will say that the Super Nintendo Classic is on point. That thing is, I have it right next to me. That thing is rad as shit, man. Like, I love that thing. But the thing is, Super Nintendo games, way better than regular Nintendo games. So, so that makes sense. But yeah, if you see one at the store, fucking go buy one out there in listener land. Like the Super Nintendo Classic's a great system, and you can hack that shit. Yeah. You didn't hear it from me, but you can hack it, put whatever games you want on it.
I mean, arguably, you could do the same thing with Raspberry Pi and all the other stuff, but that's just the way it is. And so Nintendo's not bringing Virtual Console to Switch, but there's apparently somebody that's working on doing it anyway.
Nice.
Which is terrific. I love it.
Yeah, I have a Wii U, and dabbling a little bit in the whole homebrew scene. And someone apparently has a perfect working GameCube 100% accurate emulator on Wii U. And I was
That's
like,
beautiful.
Oh, dude, I could get me some awesome GameCube games on that screen, and then you can actually mix and match it and put it on the big TV or on the a portable. That's essentially a portable GameCube.
Yep.
Ooh, that's great. That's enticing.
It is, and I mean, I've thought about, maybe like priority wise, console wise, I see myself getting a PS4 before a Switch because I don't have a PS4.
Right.
But the Switch does look very attractive.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy that's like, oh my God, it's a Nintendo console. Here, take my wallet and maybe I'll get one.
Yeah.
I mean, it has that appeal, and it's more for, because my sister has one. Her and her husband have one, and Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner, they brought it over and they were playing Mario Odyssey or whatever the fuck it was.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, the fuck's that? They go, oh, it's our Switch. And I'm like, what?
Like, wait, what? Yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing Nintendo needs to do is release the 128 gig SD card so they can have other games on there.
Yeah.
Because that's holding back Grand Theft Auto. They're like, I mean, we want it on there, but until they release that 128, we can't do shit.
Right. I may break an embargo of some sort here, but I'll just say you're on the right track. And wouldn't it be great if we knew something more at E3?
I mean, the thing is, we've been hearing about this 128 for almost 6 months.
I was about to say since a little after launch,
yeah.
they were discussing it.
And they were just like, oh, well, we'll talk about it at a later date. And, I mean, E3 season is right around the corner.
Yep.
We may hear something there. We might hear something from the next Nintendo World fucking
direct
thing. I see them making an announcement there as opposed to E3 personally, because Nintendo's just like, E3, what's that? Like,
they want to take a lot of the buzz out of E3, I think, so they can control the message a little more.
Yeah. But I mean, we've already had some massive leaks for E3. Which is cool. Rage 2, which I didn't know I wanted.
Yeah, right. There's still a few surprises.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And like I'll DM you afterwards and tell you a few of them. One of them I'm super happy about. Nice. Incredibly happy because it's a return of a franchise that nobody freaking knows. But if you go and watch one of the old episodes of West vs. Backlog, it's a new one of those games. So
they're doing a remaster of the Roadrunner game, huh?
Yeah! Finally! Another Quake 2 port! But it's I'm stoked about it. I just hope that they don't do the weird Breath of Fire thing to where Breath of Fire 6 is a fucking phone game. But apparently the developer is the actual developer. It's going to be very similar to the older games in this franchise. I'm stoked. Like,
that's great. That is super exciting.
And it's one that people they're gonna be like, wait, why are they working on that? Because this is a very high profile company now. That has a full, and they weren't at the time that these other games came out, at the games that they're gonna do a redux of. Like I kind of just want to say the name of the game, but I also don't want to get like shit canned from having sources.
Understandable, completely and totally understandable. That's sadly that's the way it is.
I'm gonna type it to you right now. This is.
Okay.
Yeah, so the company that makes that, not known for that anymore.
No,
known for a whole other massive franchise that goes across consoles and has a huge cult following.
Yeah.
But this is my favorite game that they've ever made. Yeah. So the fact that they're making a new one for the new systems, I'm stoked about.
I will say I did log a decent bit of hours in the original. So
yeah. So it'll be fun.
That's super exciting. It really is.
So I think there's going to be more of those, like the kind of.
But will it have a battle royale mode? That's the important thing.
Yeah, there's going to be 100 of whatever these things are, and they all have to battle. And yeah, exactly. So.
And it'll have a Marvel crossover in it. All of a
Thanos
sudden,
will be in it.
Yeah.
John Wick and Thanos will be in there, and it'll be amazing.
That still reminds me of the fucking picture of somebody put up of the next Infinity War Part 2, and it's John Wick beating the shit out of Thanos.
Right.
Because you see John Wick like holding the puppy, and then
like
the next panel is it starts fading away. And then he basically goes Saiyan, and it's like
absolutely. Well, and he tweeted John Wick 3, man, today, but next year. 5/17/2019. John Wick 3.
Hey, I'm not I'm not disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and he's going to be hobo John Wick, and
Nice.
that excites me very much. He has a trucker hat and a big beard and everything. He looks like Forrest Gump as Forrest Gump is running across the nation.
I mean, Keanu
Oh,
Reeves has a busy fucking year. I
yeah,
mean, between that and the new Bill and Ted, like
right.
which caught me off guard.
It's like, sure.
Yeah, I remember seeing those movies in the theaters when they
Oh,
came
that's
out originally. I was like, wow.
hilarious. The Wild Stallions back
Yep.
at it again.
Ted
Oh,
S.
man.
Preston Esquire and was Bill S. Preston Esquire, Ted
Yeah.
Theodore Logan. Hopefully they bring back Death, and
Oh,
that's got to be in that.
yeah.
And fucking Station.
Mhm.
Like all the
So
little
good.
things from the second one from fucking Bogus Journey that nobody liked.
That everybody, yeah, bring those back as the callbacks.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be great.
We'll do a hologram of George Carlin.
Yeah, right. Everything else, we'll do the like Rogue One style where they like mold his face and it's Uncanny Valley style.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh shit.
I like Tarkin.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, E3 coming up is going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun with things getting announced, obviously. It's why people actually pay attention to the shit. So,
yes, yeah.
Microsoft announcing stuff before E3 has been a little weird, though.
Yeah, I wonder if they do. I wonder if this is the new trend because like E3 has changed dramatically over the past like 5 years. Because E3 used to be the only place where announcements happened.
Yeah.
They would save all year and all like, you know, some of our listeners and fans might be of an age that they don't quite know what the glory days of E3 were.
Yeah.
But E3 was the place and the time, really before the internet, that, or like as the internet was first coming to, I think the first E3 was in like 96 or 7, because it was an offshoot of the Consumer Electronics Show. And because at CES, video games used to be there, but they used to be at like on the weird like back row, and like no one really went there, and the like bad carpet stains and stuff. Like it was the you know.
Yeah, it was originally started as a thing between CES and the European Computer Trade Show.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I mean the first one was 95.
Okay, so not 95.
So you were, I mean, you're really close to that, but
like,
I mean, it's
yeah. So that's what E3 started as, and people would. So the main way you got your news was like magazines, and the internet was around, but there wasn't a lot of video back then because there wasn't enough bandwidth to show video. So you had all these articles written up. So you would have at E3. I had a few friends, but even way back in the day, would go to E3 as like press. They were journalists for, you know, like CNET or a tech company, but it was like PC Magazine. So there was no video game magazine stuff, but I knew the guys that were like editors of like all the tech stuff. So they were able to go, and you would sit in a farm. Like it was a giant room in the middle of the convention that you could get your computers, you could log into your stuff, and you would just write article after article after article. You would go, they didn't even really have, at the first of E3, they didn't really even have big press conferences.
No.
They would just like, they would bring you into a room, and they would like, okay, so here's our plan for the next year. It's like a PowerPoint. It was like oh, well, you know, and hey, do you guys have any questions? Okay, we'd love to talk to you. Okay, and here's what you can. We've provided a briefing for you. You can use this as a factual thing and blah, blah, blah. And that slowly starts to get to be the big bombastic like booth babes and mascots everywhere and all that stuff. But now it's weird because that was the place where every major announcement happened. Announcement of hardware, prices, brand new games, remasters of games, anything that was going to be announced, everyone was hush-hush until E3.
Yeah.
But now with the influx of stuff like PAX, of BlizzCon, of these bigger trade shows that are directed more towards either one entity or like it's weird. It's more of like the passionate fan base, the
Yeah.
true gamer conferences. So E3 is becoming more as what it originally used to be, which is a press junket. It's basically just a summit, a business summit, to where you go and you talk to CEOs, and that's about
Yeah.
it. And they talk about their stock prices.
Except for the last day, because the last day they open to the public.
Yes, and then they open the doors and it's chaos. And but with PAX and stuff, kind of getting the whole hoorah, we're all gamers, let's all be gamers together, woohoo. And E3 is more of that business conscious deal. But what we're seeing in the trend the past, like what, 2 or 3 years, they'll make announcements before E3. That way, going into E3, they don't have to have the pressure of like, here's our massive, big juggernaut slam dunks. They can actually go into further detail. Be like, so you'll see last week we announced blah, blah, blah. Here's so-and-so who's working on the game to tell you more.
Yeah. I mean, in some cases it's nice because Microsoft announcing, and they started this trend with the Xbox One. Because when they announced the Xbox One, they did it separately. And
that's right.
And then they focused the whole press conference on the shows. I mean, not the shows, the games and stuff like that you could play on the console.
Which is smart.
Which was brilliant. Yeah. So I got kind of flashbacks of that yesterday when Phil Spencer announced the new Xbox One adaptive controller.
Yes. Yeah. That's a huge deal. It's about freaking time.
Yeah.
Like, genuine. It's one of those things that, like, why did nobody think of this sooner? Mm-hmm. Normally in the PC space, you have people working on, controllers for people with disabilities or different ways that you can, like deaf or blind or like just any way that you could interact with this form of entertainment, like buzz feedback, like really interesting ideas. But they were always kind of, I call them Kincha Hall. So Kincha Hall in E3 back in the day, Kincha Hall is where all the bullshit went.
Yeah.
It was where the stuff like your Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero started as a thing in Kincha Hall. Yep. Everyone thought it was a goofy gimmick. They're like, what is this funny guitar?
And then it sold millions upon millions of units.
Blew everyone away. All this stuff, like the adaptive controllers, and sadly, they were all like Kincha Hall things. Like, oh, look at this weird, unique thing that you wear on your neck, and then you put a glove on, and blah, 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 blah. But
the stupid, it was almost like a backpack.
Oh, yeah.
Which you...
With the force feedback stuff.
Yeah, the force feedback backpack.
And like, but the people that were working so hard on these adaptable controllers got pushed over there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this doesn't look like a controller. Let's put you over in Kincha Hall. And you're like, but they're pushing like the whole idea of what do video games mean? And like, how can everyone interact with them? And how can everybody enjoy these experiences? So I'm super glad that Microsoft is like, listen, we're going to do it. We're going to do it legit, first party. We're publishing it. We're developing it in-house, testing it. It works. This is not a Kinect thing. Like, it's not going to be the next Kinect.
Yeah.
This is going to be
we're not going to force our partners to use this shit in every game. Like,
exactly.
Because this thing you can use with every game as is, which I think is brilliant.
Totally.
It's none of this bullshit like when I was playing Mass Effect 3 with my Kinect going boomstick and he pulls out the shotgun. I'm like, I'm satisfied.
Xbox Pizza Hut. Orders pizza.
Do you want 47 pizzas? No. Sending order. No.
No, please, no.
Insufficient funds.
Oh man. Like, but E3... I'm getting more excited for it, of course, and here's the bummer, some fourth wall shit. So E3 is going to be happening June 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Yep.
I was going to request off work all 3 days. I was going to do full live Twitch streams during every press conference.
Yeah.
I was going to do narration. I was going to do that. We were going to react to it together. That way we could have it in the archive form. It could be cool coverage for E3. Because I always like to cover E3. But, usually it's written blogs or something like that. But this time I'm going to do video. I think that'll be a better way to do it. So I was like, why not just do it live? Why not have a full awesome E3 week. And the day I went in to go put my time in, we get at my work a 3-day conference event that I'm one of the main board people to like set it up and make it going for exactly June 12th, 13th, and 14th. And get this, from 7 in the morning until 9:30 at night.
Oh, fuck that.
I was like, out of the 3 days. And then they did it again, I shit you not, for BlizzCon. The 2 days of BlizzCon. They chose those 2 days to do the follow-up.
I think they did that shit on purpose.
I think so too.
That's the only thing that makes sense. Like,
I'm
what nerd events are going on?
Oh, let's see.
We're going to need you guys to work these days. Like,
I'm this close to calling in one of the days of E3. I'm so close just to doing it.
Find out which press conferences are which days.
If I remember right, usually Sony opens the event like the first evening. Then the next day, Microsoft goes first, and then Nintendo. That's usually how it goes.
Microsoft.
They do day zero.
The day zero stuff. Yeah. I mean, we also got Bethesda day zero.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, I think it's Bethesda day zero. The day after, I think Sony is in the evening.
Yeah. Microsoft is the morning. Because it's usually same day. At least last year was, I think.
Yeah. Either Microsoft and Nintendo are the same day, or Microsoft and Sony are the same day.
I want to say it's Microsoft and Sony because Nintendo waits for the following day to do their Nintendo Direct shit.
Yeah.
Or they do it in the middle of a...
Yeah, that's right. They do the Treehouse. So I may do it on the day Microsoft and Sony.
Yeah.
Because the Directs are one of those things that it's not like live interactions and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a pre-recorded thing, and then you get to do follow-ups.
I hope Sony announces a new Ridge Racer.
Ridge Racer!
To this day, I still crack up at that clip.
He's like, Ridge Racer!
And then fucking just Reggie being Reggie.
Absolutely. I think my favorite insane, because there's so many insane memes that came from E3 over the past years. My favorite one might be Tak Fuji. Tak Fuji worked for Konami. I think he retired now. I know he was ill. I think he had like cancer and like fought cancer or something. Like, dude's been through some shit. But he was the main creative director behind, I think it was 99 Nights 2, that beat 'em up game.
Mm-hmm.
So Tak Fuji did the best press conference I've maybe ever seen, because he just walks on stage and he's like, 99 Nights 2, and he shows the logo, and then he like points at it again, and then he's like, it's extreme. It's extreme. Like, he keeps just saying these words, and then it's like,
I just found the fucking clip.
He's like, there's 1 million troops, and then it was dead silent. The crowd was so dead, and he was like, wow.
Oh my god. So this is really painful to watch. Like,
I love it, dude. It's my favorite conference I've ever seen. Yeah. Yeah, he's like, come on, and then he keeps calling everything extreme, and it makes me laugh every time. Oh, it's the best thing. Like, I love Tak Fuji so much.
But apparently he's back with Gall Metal, a drumming game on the Switch. That was from September of last year.
Heck yeah.
That's a thing. I mean, hopefully he does something with that, and it's another one of those moments, because just
he needs to come back out.
1,000,000 drums. So extreme.
1 million drums. But if you want to get like a fever dream stuff, watch any Ubisoft conference, because it's insanity. It's genuinely like, I don't know who creates the Ubisoft conferences, but what it is, it's madness. It's just, it's chaos. they have like some person come out and like sing a song like we have world famous artist Nicki Minaj, and then she comes out and she does like a 2-minute song and has a bunch of backup dancers and stuff, and then leaves. And then she's
and now
like,
Aisha Tyler will tell you about,
yeah, we'll tell you about these video games, and she'll throw F-bombs around.
Yeah.
And it's surreal. Every one of those is mind-blowingly like I don't even understand. You have to be in a certain mental state to like really be in that Ubisoft conference. The Sony ones are pretty cut and dry.
Sony's cut and dry. Microsoft, as of late, they've kind of hit their stride with it.
Yeah.
Because there was those rough years where they would do like the really weird, goofy shit, and you're like
bring out a Lamborghini and like Project Gotham, and you're like,
the fuck.
Sure.
But Ubisoft, yeah, I mean they do the off the wall shit. It reminds me of seeing Gearbox at PAX.
Yes.
Because like it's right before the thing would happen. We had Mikey Newman, who's no longer with Gearbox, he has a YouTube channel, which is really cool. But he would come and kind of warm the crowd up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing would start. He would sit down. Randy would come out. He would do a fucking magic trick. Then and it's just like honestly, I went to PAX 2013,
mm-hmm.
and arguably it was the last good Gearbox panel, because everything after that was, we're going to talk about the games you want to hear about. Really? Yeah, we're going to talk about Battleborn. Yeah. And then they talk about Battleborn for 45 minutes. And then Randy does a fucking magic trick. And then he brings out a guitar and he sings a song and he does this and he does that. And you're just like, and they're like, by the way, we're also putting out, like, we're doing a 20th anniversary, a 25th anniversary of Duke Nukem. It's just like, we want to hear, you said we were going to hear about what we wanted to hear about.
You're right.
Like, we don't give a shit about these. We don't give a shit about Homeworld, you know?
Right.
Homeworld was a great game, but we don't give a shit about that. What we care about is Borderlands 3.
Right.
Well, I mean, we could talk about that, but Randy's going to sing you a song about all insensitive issues and haters online. And it's just like, really? Fucking really? Oh.
Yeah, and here's
Randy.
the deal. I think I will say, don't get your hopes up about that Borderlands 3 this year.
Oh, I'm not. I absolutely love that everybody's just like, there was a leak and there's going to be Borderlands 3 news. And it's just like, no, there's not. And then it's just like, but I'm so hyped for Borderlands 3. I'm like, yeah, I was too last year, and that shit didn't happen. So why get my hope? It's like playing Overwatch and me opening a loot box, and before I do it, I call my shot and go 3 silvers and a blue. Yeah. Because if you get the absolute worst, you're not disappointed.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, if Borderlands 3 ends up having some kind of thing.
Yeah,
great.
Probably a teaser or something.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets like a little teaser, then cool. If not, then I'm not watching E3 for Borderlands 3. I'm looking forward to. I know you're looking forward to seeing Crackdown 3 stuff.
Yes, yeah, that's going to be one of those that I think that could be a big power move for Microsoft, depending on how they handle it.
Mm-hmm. Well, what is it? Crackdown 3 with Terry Crews in it. So
yeah,
which I'm excited about.
In
a weird sense.
It's just ridiculous enough. And I hope it. I hope it sticks to the first Crackdown. I said Borderlands. Mm-hmm. The first Crackdown. That style, because it's a very basic game, but it's so good at just giving you enough reward to go do another thing and go do the other thing, and you're about to unlock this, go do that. And like that progression system is so good on the first Crackdown, and I hope they really nail and fine tune that again on Crackdown 3.
Mm-hmm. You want to be able to jump over buildings. I gotcha.
Yeah. I want to give me 8 million orbs, and I'll get them, and that's fine. I'm fine with that forever.
We'll write a script about Officer Mackenzie.
Yeah, and he'll be like, "My God, all the orbs, they killed my wife."
I collected you bastards 10 years ago. What are you doing back?
Back for more, are you? And then because I'm trying to think of like what game could they announce that I would just be like head over heels, like, oh my god, even if it, okay, so like a dream game, like what would be your dream announcement? Doesn't even matter what system it's for, doesn't matter like who's making it. What dream game would you want to see at E3?
I would love. I mean, this is a fucking biased ass question for me because,
Right.
I would love to see another Vampire the Masquerade game. I mean, that's hands down. I would love to see Obsidian handle it because 90% of the team that worked on Bloodlines is at Obsidian.
Oh, nice.
So, I mean, there's that. But taking that off the table, taking all the World of Darkness stuff off the table, because there is a Werewolf the Apocalypse game that's being developed by the same by Focus, the people that did Strix.
Yeah.
Taking those off the table, I would love to see a fucking Sunset Overdrive 2.
I was this close to buying Sunset Overdrive today. I went after work and I went to a local game store. They had really good day one edition for $10, and I was like, I really kind of want this. I may go buy it tomorrow. Like I held it in my hand. I was like, I want Sunset Overdrive, but
Sunset Overdrive is one of two games that sold me on getting an Xbox One.
Yeah.
It was that and Quantum Break, which came out 2 years after the Xbox One.
Right.
But it was supposed to be a launch title. So.
Oh yeah, it is.
I mean, alternatively, maybe a new Alan Wake would be nice too.
Oh yeah, that'd be really good.
Remedy's teasing shit on their Twitter, so they're working on something, doing motion capture with animals. Yeah.
Interesting. The one thing that I wish would happen, it will never happen, and it would be fairly easy for it to happen, which is why it's so heartbreaking that it never will. A true re-release on current platforms, including PC and Steam, of the Metal Gear games.
Yeah.
Konami, just bundle that shit up, man, and sell that shit. Sell it for $60. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, put Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2. You put Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Maybe 5, but
what is it? I actually just got Metal Gear Solid 5 because it was part of Games with Gold. Phantom Pain.
Oh, nice.
So I had Ground Zeroes for ever, and I haven't played it. But then they're just like, here you go. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Thank you. And then they give me Vanquish, which I'm like, I don't know. It's a free game, though.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a nice Sega goofy thing.
Yeah. But if I want a fucking goofy game, I'm playing Saints Row. That's just the way it is.
Well, I will say, I think the Vanquish team, part of the Vanquish team went on to do Bayonetta.
That wouldn't surprise me. Bayonetta was good.
Bayonetta's fantastic, yeah.
Bayonetta's the reason why I want to get a Switch.
Dude, it's a rad game.
Because, I mean, I enjoyed the first Bayonetta. I can't play the second Bayonetta because it wasn't released on anything but it's the Wii
U. Yep, Wii U and I think the Wii U and the Switch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Shit, that's right.
And if they're doing another one, it's probably going in that realm as well. So.
Yep. And see, here's the thing, man. The thing I think I remember about Bayonetta is it was the 2007. When did Bayonetta come out? It was the same year as Mass Effect 2. The reason why I know that is because the Game of the Year deliberations at Nitro Beer.
99.
99. Okay. So
2009.
Or 2009. Yeah. So, okay, because we had been a website since 2008. So, 2009, Game of the Year podcast. The only time ever, if anything I've ever been a part of or podcast or whatever, where there was a tie for number one Game of the Year. And it was split right down the middle. We had 4 people. Imran Khan, who now works at Game Informer magazine. and Mark Bradshaw on one side, and then myself and Brian Bolita, two of the three people that made Nitro Beard, on this side. For Game of the Year, Brian and I said Mass Effect 2.
Mm-hmm.
Those two said Bayonetta. So it was a tie. I look back on that now, and that's probably the decision I'm most proud of, because both of those games redefined what their genres do.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, Mass Effect 2 is a timeless classic. In my opinion, that game is one of those that you look back on as a generation-defining game. Like, that, Uncharted 2, it might be it. Like, and like Red Dead.
Yeah.
Like, you know, those are kind of, that's encapsulated the Xbox 360 time perfectly. Like, you play those three and you're good. Bayonetta reinvented, the same way Devil May Cry did before it, reinvented character action games. Like, it is that freaking good. It's the best version of one of those games ever made. Like,
absolutely.
And we had that argument on the podcast, and I was like, here's the thing. We all agree with each other, but Mass Effect 2 is better. And then, like, fuck you, Bayonetta is like, so we're like, okay, yeah, it's a tie.
Yeah.
Great games. Like, oh my God. But yeah, Bayonetta is the real deal. And whenever I first saw it, I was like, this can't be as good as these other games that came out. And they're like, you are very wrong about that statement, because it does everything a character action game needs to do. And playing it afterwards, and because at the time I had not played it yet, so I was like, I don't know how a game like Devil May Cry could be as good as something like Mass Effect 2, which is just so big and vast.
Until you started playing it, and you're like,
and then I was like, Jesus Christ, they are not kidding around. Like, this is super good. Yeah. And it's still, like, you can get it on Steam for $20. First Bayonetta runs like a dream. It is
backwards compatible on the Xbox One.
Man. Unbelievably good. I'm hoping, so the Metal Gear collection, I would love it to be able to have it and just buy one game for PS4 and have all of my Metal Gear fix right there. I'm trying to think of a game that they could announce, and I would be like, this is the only game I ever need. Like, I made the joke yesterday on my Twitch stream. I was playing Tactics Ogre. Let Us Cling Together. And I made the joke. I was like, if they port this to the Switch, I will buy one right now. I will stop what I'm doing with a credit card in hand and go buy a Switch down at Walmart, because they're open 24 hours. Like, if they announce Tactics Ogre, a remaster or whatever for the Switch, that'd be freaking rad. They already have a game kind of like it called Mercenary Wars that has 1, 2, and 3. Each one of those games are enormous, by the way. For $20, $15 for all 3 games, and it's a physical release, and they're all like 30 to 40 hour RPGs. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, man, the Switch, like you said before, how the Switch is pretty enticing. They are coming out with some ballers. Like, go ahead.
I just did a quick Google search for Tactics Ogre Switch.
Yeah.
And like the first 10 are just threads on different message boards about, we need Tactics Ogre on the Switch.
Dude, it is a perfect game for that. Because I have it on the PSP. Yeah. I have it on the fucking Super Famicom in a translation patch. So, like, I have that game. I love that game. It's one of my top 10 games ever made. If they put that out on the Switch, I could just have the system for that game.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, that, take it wherever I go. And, like, I loved it on the PSP. But, like, with the Switch, with the better resolution screen and, like, being able to hook it up to the TV and do it that way, absolutely. 100%. I'm trying to think of, like, anything out of left field that I would want to see. Maybe like a Breath of Fire collection.
That'd be nice.
Weird thing, though. They cannot do that for Breath of Fire 3. They can do it for 1, they can do it for 2, and they can do it for 4. And 5. The Dragon Quarter, whatever it was called on PS2. They cannot do it for 3 because the source code no longer exists.
Huh.
They cannot develop any part of that game anymore because the source code's gone forever. I'm like, that's the saddest news I've ever heard. That's like sad violin music.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, I'm expecting Breath of Fire 4 to go on Good Old Games like anytime. They did do a PC port of it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I would think. I think I'm just a big sucker for the collections. Like I'm what's wrong with the gaming industry now because I will buy remasters and I'll rebuy shit I already own. Sure.
Huh. Breath of Fire 3, PS3, PSP port.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Came out in Europe. It came out in Japan, and then there was a European version. True story. The Breath of Fire 3 for PSP, and they ported Tales of Eternia, which is Tales of Destiny 2, I believe. They ported that to on the PSP in Europe as well. Those are the 2 video games that I imported for the very first time. I had never imported a game in my life, but the PSP was region free. And then so I got both of those from Play Asia way back in the day. Like I'm talking 2006.
That was some serious shit because, I mean, Play Asia don't fuck around when it comes to shipping.
No, man. And I saw both of those games. I was like, I have a PSP. I need those games portable. And yeah, I paid as much in shipping as I did for the games.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember like each game was about $24-$25.99 and shipping was about that much.
Yeah, because what is it? What I'm reading, and now these are old articles back from 2016, that it was available on the PSP's PlayStation Store digitally.
Yes, I think they had added it maybe in 2016, like fairly recent. Which I think I do have it. I think I hooked up my PS3 just to be able to buy it, to be able to transfer it over to my PSP.
Nice.
Which is crazy. Like, Breath of Fire 3 is one of those games. I actually have it on my cell phone. I downloaded a PlayStation emulator for Android just to have Breath of Fire 3 on my phone. It runs okay, but it's one of those games. It's one of those games, I think I have like a cloud backup of it somewhere. Like of an ISO. That way, no matter what machine I get, no matter what computer I have, I always have a copy of Breath of Fire 3.
I mean, the PS1 version of the game, brand new, is going for $180.
Yes, sir. I love my super minty condition, complete in box version that I got.
That is fucking outrageous.
Woo, man. Now we're getting into some dankness right now.
Yeah. Oh, man. There's a lot of cool things. I mean, we just talked about games that we want to see. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see what Microsoft can do to top last year's original Xbox games are coming to the Xbox kidding. One.
I don't know what they could do unless they're like, oh, okay. One of the things, it's not necessarily a game, but if Microsoft comes out and says, by the way, 100% backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
Like, we did it. The golden goose of what people want. Like, we did it.
Yeah.
Get any Xbox game, get any Xbox 360 game, and it works, and it starts tomorrow. I'd be like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like,
I would be happy with half of the library.
Like,
they couldn't do that shit with the 360 with the original Xbox, which amazed me.
Yeah. That's true. Well, but what's nice now is the Xbox One, I think, is built on x86 architecture.
Yes, it is.
So now, moving forward, whatever Microsoft does next, the next Xbox, whatever it is, absolutely, not only could it be fully 100% backwards compatible, in all likelihood, it will be. Like, just the way that technology works, just the x84 or x86 infrastructure, it just works. It's like I can go onto Good Old Games. Yeah. I can buy a copy of Planescape Torment, and I know for a fact it works on my computer. I know it does because that's what it was built on.
Well, so, the original Xbox was built on that x86 architecture as well, which is interesting because, and it explains why those games run so much better on an Xbox One than they did on the original hardware.
Just more muscle, man. Like I really want to get Ninja Gaiden Black.
Yeah.
I want to get that one, and that I can just fathom how good that game probably looks. And like SSX 3, I'm so happy about that.
I've talked about it a couple times. Games I would love to see backwards compatible, just from EA, because they had just done Dragon Age 2 and they made that backwards compatible, which I was excited for. I'd be great with an SSX Tricky. I would love the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Also, Need for Speed Underground.
Yes, absolutely. Because here's the thing, man. That might be the best, besides like Burnout 3. There's like Burnout 3, Burnout Takedown, like what was Burnout Revenge, I think, was the one that was right after Burnout 3. The best arcade style racing games ever. And of course Burnout Paradise.
And it gave you so much customization as well. I mean, I remember driving my little Miata everywhere in that fucking thing.
Man. You got a freaking Honda Civic. You got the GTO.
You could get your Evos.
Oh, everything, man. And yeah, the super underrated game because you're like, oh, it's a Need for Speed game. There's billions of them. Yeah. And it was like, Underground was
something special. Underground 2 kind of kicked it up. So I'd be fine with either one of those. But if it had to be one of them, Underground 2, because you cannot get stuck like you could in Underground 1. Underground 1, you at a certain point, you'll run out of money and realize, fuck, I don't have the right upgrade for my car. Let me do some more. Oh, that's right. I'm stuck in this race.
Yeah.
Time to start over.
Yep. Now you gotta, I hate that stuff. Probably the main original Xbox game, and I think it has a sequel, that I would want to see is Otogi.
Okay.
Otogi, oddly enough, made by From Software, makers of hit games like Tenchu. Let's just throwing that out there. So
we know the history with you in that game. And
it's almost like I have an episode of something about that.
That YouTube didn't like.
Yeah. So I had to freaking redo my Tenchu episode, YouTube. But hey, I actually like this better one anyway, the retro episode. Anyway, but Otogi, great game. Plays a lot like Ninja Gaiden. Very kind of surrealist type stuff. Awesome game where you're a ninja, protecting a bunch of villages, and just really cool action game. I'm super happy they did Panzer Dragoon Orta. Very happy with that. I wonder, Panzer Dragoon Orta. No, I might be thinking of Panzer Dragoon Saga. But I think there's an unlock for the original Panzer Dragoon. Is that right? In Orta?
I think so. I can look it up real quick.
Because it's one of the Panzer Dragoon games. It might be Saga, where if you play to a certain point, you unlock the original Panzer Dragoon. And it's one of those deals that, like, if Panzer Dragoon Orta is the game that has the unlockable, I'll probably buy it tonight. Because playing the original Panzer Dragoon on an Xbox One blows me away. Like, what? How is that even fathomable? But yeah, Xbox is...
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Panzer Dragoon Orta, many unlockable bonus features, including the movies from earlier Panzer Dragoon games, and even a complete port of the original Panzer Dragoon.
Yes, sir. So if you want to play a Sega Saturn game on your Xbox One, freaking go for it. Like, holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah, and was it? Orta is like, as of 2017, the 10th best original Xbox game.
Wow.
So that says something about that. I mean, it's a great series. But yeah, I mean, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah. Huh.
And I this is going to probably get me killed. But I mean, I'll champion for backwards compatible games like blah blah blah. You know, I would love to see. We got Hunter the Reckoning. Give us Hunter the Reckoning Redeemer. You know, that's kind of my thing. Right. Fine. I want an Xbox One version, not a backwards compatible version, but an Xbox One version, Steel Battalion.
Ooh.
And I'm talking with the whole fucking kit.
With the gimmick. Oh. Yeah, man.
I'm all about that life.
Yeah. They could also bring out, it'd be so much fun, Unreal Championship and Unreal Championship The Leandry Chronicles, The Leandry Incident. It has some weird subtitle. Unreal Championship 2 is a freaking incredible arena-based combat game. It's not even really a shooter necessarily, because they have the weapons like bow staffs and stuff. That have that game was fantastic. The Xbox, the original Xbox, in a lot of ways, is the spiritual successor to the Dreamcast. There's a lot of, just amazing hidden gems.
There's a lot of hidden gems. The original controller reminded me an awful lot of the Dreamcast controller.
Hey, the Duke. That's a great point. Yeah.
Some of these are games people don't talk about, like the original True Crime games. Yes. True Crime Streets of New York and LA and New York.
That's right.
Both great games. Honestly, I liked LA better. That's just me, but because we had a little pan in it. We had the Tony Hawk games, Splinter Cell, like all the fucking Splinter Cell games.
I would say Splinter Cell Chaos Theory might be the best Batman game ever made. Like that game feels so much like a Batman game. It is incredible. Chaos Theory is on point, man. Like, it's funny because until the Arkham games came out, I sincerely said, anytime people were like, I wish they made a good Batman game, I'm like, dude, play Chaos Series. It's perfect. It's the perfect Batman game. You get guns. It's so good.
But yeah, some of these games, like even some of the weirder ones, like Tao Fang, that weird fucking fighter.
Yeah, shit.
And Brute Force.
Ooh. What about Bloodwake? You remember Bloodwake?
Bloodwake. Oh shit!
It's like Hydro Thunder. I know it's like Hydro Thunder, but it's shitty.
Yeah. Oh god. Some of these. I'm looking through this list. And I'm like, I could see some of these going backwards compatible.
Yeah.
Because you had Ortagi 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
You had Ninja Gaiden Black.
Mm-hmm.
You had your sports titles, blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of scrolling through all those right now. Narc. We had that.
Fucking Narc. Oh.
The early Mortal Kombat.
Like Armageddon?
Games. Armageddon, Deadly Alliance, Deception.
Yep.
I still have physical copies of all three of those. And
good games, man.
Those were really good. You had the Metal Slug stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which Metal Slug in itself is its own fucking animal.
Dude, freaking, it has it on Switch. Oh my god. Like, whenever I saw Metal Slug is coming out for the Switch, I was like, oh my god, no, I have to buy this again. And I haven't even bought it yet.
One game that is backwards compatible already, and people would be like, why didn't you mention this one, was Jade Empire.
Yes. Underrated BioWare stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Great game. Combat was a little wonky, but they were trying new things.
Oh, absolutely. They were definitely trying some interesting things.
Trying to think of oh no.
Fallout Brotherhood of Steel.
Oh shit. Oh, we're going past the point of no return now.
I saw that on the list and I'm like, yep, that's gotta be there.
I can see the hideous box art on it too. Of like that guy in the sunglasses and the woman like standing next to him with
the one Fallout game that even Like, no matter who you talk to, they're just like, it's only a Fallout game in name.
It's just so bad.
Holy shit. The Matrix games, like Beyond the Enter the Matrix was not bad.
I liked Enter the Matrix. I even liked how fucking stupid the ending of Enter the Matrix was.
Oh yeah,
like
you beat the game and it's just like, now play with the other character, and you're like, all right.
And then at the end, didn't the Wachowskis like show up, or they did some weird like after credits behind the scenes talk, but they had modeled themselves in the game, and they were like, it was so weird. Yeah. I remember that game being like a fever dream at the end of it.
It legitimately was.
Like Neo was 800 foot tall and would like talk to a dog. Like, it was the weirdest shit, and you're like, what is this game?
It wasn't as weird as Path of Neo.
Okay, I might be thinking of Path of Neo.
Path of Neo, at the end, like, you end up having to fight like a skyscraper-sized Smith that's formed from all the other Smiths to jump on you and shit, and you're like, what the fuck am I playing? Like, it's just...
Yeah, that reminds me.
But you got to that point, and you're just like, well, I mean, it's only probably like another 20 minutes. Like, we're going to get through this. And an hour and a half later, you're like, fuck this game.
So, another game with a baller ending. But also, great candidate for backwards compatibility is Silent Hill 2.
Yeah. I mean, they did get the botched remaster.
Yeah.
For in that Silent Hill collection, which doesn't include the first game.
Oh yeah, right. What a great collection that doesn't include the first game.
I mean, it would be like them doing a Devil May Cry collection, saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, Devil May Cry collection, you get 2, 3, and 4."
Yeah. And the DMC remake thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like the ending of Silent Hill 2. I remember the ending that I got was the bad ending. But I, in my mind, like that it's canon. Like, I made it canon. And it's where the dog was the one...
at the board? Yeah.
With the headphones on. And he's like, doing the levers. And I was like, you know what? No, fuck it. This is the ending of Silent Hill 2. It was all a dog.
That's just like Silent Hill 1, where I'm sitting there and I worked my ass off to get the secret alien ending, and I'm like, that's the true ending.
That's it. That's
you had to get specific items and go to a certain place with the specific items, and then you get abducted by aliens, and it's like, well, that's our game.
I love those games, man.
Fuck this Silent Hill place.
I love games that just say whatever. Like they just...
Yeah, but I mean, as I said, looking at the list, there's some of them I could do without. Like, we don't need a Backyard Wrestling 1 or 2, fucking backwards compatible version. Now, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, yeah, we kind of need those.
For sure. We need, you know what other game we need? A licensed game, and those are normally terrible. The Simpsons Hit and Run.
Fair.
That was a great game.
Yeah.
Great game.
Yeah. I mean, licensed games are usually pretty bad. So, I mean, there's that. But yeah, I mean, some of these, like some of the later games, like I'll take like Blitz the League, was released in that weird span where it's like, we still have the original Xbox, but the 360's out.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, it's just make as much as you can fucking backwards compatible. That's all we're asking.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the deal. I would go to the store and clean house on some Xbox 360 games if I knew that they were backwards compatible.
Yeah.
So yeah, the more the merrier on that, because oh my god, once you start talking about Xbox 360, that console had everything. Like,
I mean, it was the console of last generation.
Yeah, yes, 100%. And I will say, as the RPG guy, I'm so happy that they were like, you know what we have to do? We have to do Lost Odyssey, and we have to do Blue Dragon. I was like, okay, the 2 okay games for the Xbox 360. Well, no, I take that back. A great game they should do Xbox 360 backwards compatible. Tales of Vesperia. That game is fucking great. It might be the best Tales game in the whole series. Like, out of all, like, 11 or 12 games they have in that series. But you can't really play it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just kind of gone. They didn't do a remaster like they did with Tales of Symphonia. They didn't do, like... There's no way to really play it unless you have... But Tales of Vesperia is on point, man. There's that game. They also did... I liked it. I'm going to get a lot of flack for it. But they did the Phantasy Star Online game. I played that shit. It was really bad, but I liked it.
There's a lot of people that love the shit out of that game. Yeah. So, I mean, I can't fault them for it. So
yeah, I mean the original Phantasy Star Online is like pristine gaming historian, like beauty incarnate. But yeah, that 360 one, not so much. Yeah.
I think another thing Microsoft can do is, do you remember? This goes back quite some time, back when they introduced the avatars on the little fucking weird cartoon people.
The Redux, they did the 2.0 version of the dashboard, update.
Yep. Yeah. And then they introduced like these weird games like what was it, 1 versus 100?
Yep, Uno.
Well, Uno was so they could push the fucking vision cam and people could do naughty things while you're trying to play a game. The only reason why I have a vision cam is because it came with Project Gotham Racing and like 3 months of live.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, that's the only reason. And Uno, believe it or not. But a game like 1 versus 100, just like a live game, set time, I think that could work in today's climate better than it did back then.
I think so too. Yeah, the infrastructure is better. I mean, hell, they even have that game on PC that's like the stand-up comedy game. Mm-hmm. It's called like Open Mic Night or something like that. And like basically you make your little character and then you go and you do stand-up comedy and people in the crowd can like boo you and shit.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
But I mean, like in the advent of mobile devices and stuff, you have these things like HQ, where it's like,
yeah.
So if Microsoft wanted to do something along those lines, they have the whole thing to do it. I mean,
that's true, because I mean, you can talk about, because the Switch brought about that whole like dynamic. Like you said, you had relatives come over, they brought their Switch, and like, oh, we're gonna play this thing. Like, bring back You Don't Know Jack. Like, bring back those trivia style, 1 versus 100, like those games that you can really have with you all the time, and make it be a platform. Like, we're gonna release one game, but we're gonna do updates for 4 years. You know,
I mean, they've kind of done that with the Jackbox stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. It's true.
But even then, I mean, there's fucking 4 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
There's how many You Don't Know Jacks were there?
Oh man.
So I think we're kind of blessed that we've only had 4 Jackboxes.
Right. Yeah. Oh god, You Don't Know Jacks was like 9 or 10 of them.
A year.
And it seems like You Don't Know Jack's Sports Edition, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. Well, fuck. Whatever. Yeah. But I mean, with that, but yeah, the whole dynamic with having like a live game show on your console, or better yet, I mean, you could take it on the road with you on the phone.
Yeah.
But it's linked to your live account.
That'd be good.
I think that's a thing Microsoft could possibly get involved with.
Right.
Because with Phil Spencer's Phil wants to do like whatever he can to win back the good graces of everybody.
Yes.
He got put in a very bad position, and he's made the most of it.
Yeah. And it's so weird because the Xbox 360 by far had the biggest market share. Holy shit.
Well, at least in the US,
Well, yes, that's true. Yeah, Japan, it was a total flop. But it was one of those things that whenever they announced the Xbox One, they floundered that entirety. Going back to E3, when they said, "Oh, the system's always online, and you cannot sell your games back," and it went on this whole deal, and like the actual response, I will never forget this because we talked about it on Nitro Beard and all this stuff. I was blown away by how like holy shit they fucked up big time. Was in an interview after E3, one of the reporters was like, sir," and it may have been Phil Spencer, I don't know. They're like, "Sir, what would you recommend to somebody that doesn't have stable internet? Because if this console's always online, it has to do updates and it checks if you bought the stuff and all that. But what would you recommend?" And he was like, "I would recommend an Xbox 360. Like, basically, he was like, "Your brand new console, we're not making it for you. If you don't have internet, we don't want you at all." Like,
yeah, it was a weird situation. It really was.
Like, it was.
I was
horrible.
super when they made that announcement about the whole it's always online and basically we're going to be pushing digital and stuff. I was just, I mean, regardless of the stable internet thing, because it's like it has to do a check-in at least once a week.
Right.
You know? And I go, that isn't too bad. Like,
yeah.
Like the way it was worded initially, like it caught so much shit. But I was absolutely fine with the vision that they had, where it's just like, you know, you can go to the store, you can buy the disc, you install the disc, you don't need the disc. And I'm just like, that's terrific.
Yeah.
That's all I ask for. Like,
right. Yes, exactly. Please give me digital versions of the games I have on physical. Like, great.
Yeah. I don't have to worry about the disc getting scratched. I don't have to worry about, you know,
disc
misplacing it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. The drive going out, as you said, like I'm still running my launch edition Xbox One, which that's
pretty good.
2013, like it's fucking got the little thing on there. So 2013, it has been just about 5 years.
Wow. They learned their lesson, man, because I, no lie, on the Xbox 360 side, I went through 11 of them in 1 year.
I went through four during the whole life.
I had so many red rings, and there was one time I sent one system back, and they sent me two systems, and both of those red ringed. I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it was unbelievable. And I was like, never again.
But the thing is, people gave the Xbox One a lot of shit because of the look of it, which, I mean, it sits above my stereo receiver.
Yeah,
it looks like it fits there.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
Oh, the thing's so huge. Who gives a shit? You know? Oh, I can't put it vertically. Well, don't put it fucking vertically then. I mean,
right? Hell, I think mine is vertical right now, but I think I had the edition that they made right before the S.
Oh yeah.
So it's a flat panel on the side, like so, and that's a slick looking system, man. It runs great. It's super quiet. Like I'm really happy with it. Like we've talked about before, I'm getting more and more into buying more physical games. But I just know one of these days that fucking disc laser is going to go out, and I'm going to be very upset. Like that's and another thing to go back to the freaking Switch, man. It's cartridges. Oh. Cartridges, little SIM cards, and like there's no moving parts.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, arguably at the same time, like you talk about the disk drive, you also got to think about the hard drive as well. Yeah, that's because hard drives can go out as well. So
yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
But just like the little chip media and stuff. I mean, I'd be fine with that if it was a situation where they go, hey, we're not limited to this tiny little fucking
64 or whatever, however many gigs they have right now.
Because that's, in my opinion, that's one of those things that's holding Nintendo back.
Yeah,
because they could do, I mean, especially because Nintendo knows how to develop for Nintendo.
Oh, 100, yes, absolutely. Like
third parties don't. So
right. Which is, and that's what's I think so fascinating about going with the Tegra motherboard stuff and like the chipset is now you have indie developers that are like, oh my God, so you mean the game I made in Unreal Engine will work on the Switch?
Yeah.
Wonderful. You know, and now we're seeing tons of indie games, good indie games too, playing on the Switch. Hell yeah. Like one of my coworkers, she brought her Switch like about a month ago. And then she was like, have you played the Switch yet? And I was like, no, actually, I've never like physically seen one and stuff. And she was like, oh, well, I have Breath of the Wild on there. You can play it a little bit. And then there's also Overcooked, I think is the name of it. Like one of those Diner Dash style games.
Yeah.
And I was playing it and I was like, the Switch feels really good. Like the controller feels good. The weight of it's nice. That game's very difficult. Overcooked is super fucking difficult to play because it's supposed to be a 2-player game, and I was playing it 1-player, and I'm like, there's too much going on.
It's an up to 4-player experience,
dude. It's difficult. It's very.
I have
difficult.
I have it on PC and I have it on the Xbox because the game was part of Game Pass.
Oh, nice.
And I've just been sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, do I want to play this?
Right.
I don't. I downloaded it. I should play this, but it's gonna be hell.
It's like it's great. It's a very good game, and I'm glad that games like that are going to the Switch. You know, shit, man. And then they're like, oh, Disgaea 5 is coming out to the Switch, and I was like, I love me some Disgaea. Those games are just enormous. Like I'm a big fan of a game that you buy it once and it gives you 500 hours of like whatever you want to do. You'll never play it that much, but you could if you wanted to. So enjoy
I mean, in recent memory, they did it with Skyrim.
Exactly.
With its never-ending quest line. Like main story you're done with, but there's still these little fetch quests. Bullshit.
Yeah, go kill more assassin targets.
Yeah. I mean, you got that. Yeah. They tried it in Fallout 4, where it's just like you finish the story, now you can just kind of walk around the wasteland and do bullshit. Like, thanks. But I mean, when it comes to RPGs, if I don't spend at least 60 hours, I don't feel like I'll rephrase that. If I don't spend 60 hours, that isn't tutorial. Because there's Final Fantasy games where like 20 hours of that is fucking tutorial.
Exactly.
Then I don't feel it's worth it. Like I feel like it's a total waste. Dragon Age Inquisition, my first playthrough was something around like 350, almost 400 hours.
Oh my goodness.
And that's just the base game. That isn't even the DLC. Like
that's a ton of content. Like I pretty much agree with that across the board, but whenever there's some outliers. Like I mean, Chrono Trigger is a 20-hour game, but every second of those 20 hours is so well like ingrained on itself.
But I mean, the big difference between like Chrono Trigger and the RPGs of today is Chrono Trigger was limited by the hardware, like what they could do in that hardware. So I agree, like Chrono Trigger, hands down, probably one of the best RPGs out there that's ever been made. I'm one of those people. Jump on the bandwagon. But if they were to do that, if they were to do Chrono Trigger today, with today's technology, and it was a 20-hour game, would you feel the same way?
Maybe. Because the thing that's so good about Chrono Trigger, and it's weird because the Super Nintendo was one of those systems, because you had Chrono Trigger on one side, but then you had Final Fantasy VI, which is the 200-hour monster, like, huge game.
And Earthbound.
Yeah, exactly. And you have Earthbound, and I mean, there's just so many. Hell, shit, Tactics Ogre. Fuck.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. So I mean, you have these monstrous games, but the way in which they were all kind of coded, like they had limited resources, but the way they could milk every single piece of whatever hardware they were given, and like with Chrono Trigger, they didn't necessarily expand it. Okay, so. I would argue that something like Final Fantasy VI and Tactics Ogre and these games that I love dearly, they are a mile wide and about 20 feet deep.
Okay.
Right? Chrono Trigger is 20 feet wide and a mile deep. Like, the way it's a smaller package, but the type of shit they put in that game. And you're like, wait, this is a better time travel story than like Back to the Future. And you look at like all the small little things and how it all correlates. And you're like, oh, so where they didn't go with, 5,000 enemies to fight and a huge world map and all this other stuff, they took the essence of all that stuff that was super important and like crammed it into this perfect little diamond. Like, here you go, there it is. And like everything you could need out of an experience like that, it fit in this little thing. And you're like, I don't think they could do Chrono Trigger again. Like, I think there is too much of the developers thinking, well, we got to get at least $1 per hour of entertain. They're thinking big and wide instead of deep. And but yeah, I think in the indie scene, like Overcooked does one thing, does that one thing really well. And I think that's an important kind of lesson. And going into E3, I hope that we get those games that it does the one thing awesome. Like, here's this game, and this is what you do. Hell, like Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves has some of the best water physics on the planet. Mm-hmm. That might be the only thing it has going for it. I mean, it's, give or take, depending on like what your sandbox abilities are.
Your mileage varies based on your experience.
Based on who you're friends with, like what you guys want to do. Yeah, playing. Exactly. But you can't fault them for sticking to their guns. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
they knew for a fact they would get some heat that there's no in-game content. But once again, like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you want this game to be 300 hours of like just repetitive quests, like a Skyrim type thing?
Yeah.
Or do you want it to be the best 15 hours of fucking around that you've ever had in a pirate game? Yeah. Like, there you go. It's kind of up to you.
I want a pirate game where I can be a pirate. Sea of Thieves. There you go.
Ta-da!
How long did you play Sea of Thieves for? I had put in like 20 hours in the last 3 days. What'd you do? Me and my buddy just hung out at the tavern. I got drunk and he played the accordion. Like,
and you're like, and then we went on the ship and I got seasick and I threw up.
Yeah. I threw up all over him. Yeah, it was just the way it was. We found a weird skull. Like,
shit. And like freaking PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds in Fortnite.
Yeah.
That game does one thing.
Yeah.
One. But it is the talk of the town. You know what I mean? Like, it was funny. We'll wrap up real quick because we're about the 2 hour mark.
It's gonna be a short one.
we always say that and it never is. I will put this to kind of let you feed on to maybe get your initial reaction. You mentioned your E3 thing of, I'd love for more Vampire the Masquerade. Just anything like that. And then you mentioned Obsidian.
Yes.
The first developer I thought of when you said that was CD Projekt Red. How would you like a Vampire the Masquerade Witcher-esque? Do you think it would work, or?
I think that CD Projekt Red could do something in that universe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say doing a vampire game would work for them.
Right.
I mean, the new White Wolf has been very gracious with saying we didn't acquire this for nothing. Like, we plan on having shit come out. CCP fucking squandered it for like a fucking decade. So like, they bought it and they're like, oh, we're going to do an MMO and we're actually going to use that so we can write off all the stuff we're building for EVE Online and say it was dev cost for this unreleased game. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were shitty about that. But I mean, if they were to do I would love to see another Hunter the Reckoning. Though I feel that a Hunter the Reckoning game should be handled by the team behind Warhammer Vermintide, because And I've said that since like the announcement of like White Wolf's now its own company again. Like, and I'm like, we need a Hunter the Reckoning done by the Vermintide team because that is the style of game that would work in.
Yes.
You know,
totally.
Obsidian would do a great job with, as long as you don't give them outrageous deadlines, they would do a great job with a vampire game. They've actually kind of tipped their hat a few times. Like when the announcement happened, they're like, we noticed that this is trending and then people are tagging us to this. Like,
right.
We're not going to say like we wouldn't be interested in it because most of the team worked on the last one. So
right. For sure.
But I mean, you got Mage the Ascension, which would be a rough one to do because you're bending reality.
Yeah.
I think, like, I could see CD Projekt Red tackling something like that because they can do some off-the-wall shit.
Yeah.
They're probably the only ones that could pull that off. Or even Changeling. I think they could do a really good Changeling game, actually, to come to think of it.
I think that might even be a quest line in The Witcher.
It might
like,
be.
You know what I mean? Like, that seems like the total vibe.
Yeah, and it fits their. I mean, yeah, they're working on Cyberpunk, which I'm excited about as well. But
yeah,
when are we going to see that? I know before Star Citizen, but whatever.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the next console generation before we see Star Citizen.
My grandkids are going to see the next console generation.
They'll tell tales of Star Citizen going into beta.
Back in my day, there was a Kickstarter.
You had to buy the ships with real money.
Yeah.
Oh. Crazy. Oh, video games.
Yeah.
That is our time for episode number 57 of Brother Around. Almost at the 2-minute mark. Beautiful. But thank you, Mr. Todd, for hanging out, talking shop.
No problem.
Good stuff.
This has been a lot of fun where it's just like we could just kind of riff.
Yeah, just totally riff. We actually stayed more on topic this episode than we have like
with Marco here.
Any of the previous episodes. Yeah. So yeah, some game stuff, E3 coming up. So a lot on the plate. I think if push comes to shove, there are 2 lessons to take from this episode. Number 1, we blame Marco for our phone addiction, and number 2, we're probably both going to buy a Switch. I mean, this is just going to happen.
It's a thing.
We're there. We are there. But that's it for us, guys. Take it easy. Go to twitch.tv/Precipice Podcast.
Yep.
Is that right? For the live stream. And then head on over to youtube.com/user. Or no, not actually with the user. I got the YouTube thing fixed. So it's youtube.com/CommyV2.
Nice.
I used to have to put user in front of it. And I was like, fuck all that. But hey, and by the way, little birdie, maybe you've told me there's some big changes happening on the Comedy to Hobo stuff.
Yeah. No, there's rumblings about changes that have happened.
There's rumblings, and they might go into effect, I don't know, by tomorrow.
Oh,
maybe for a retro stream or something.
Oh.
We'll see.
I thought you were referring to the website, which I was going to say, how about nowish?
Oh, yeah. If you go to comedytohobo.com right now, you'll see part of the surprise. But the rest of the surprise will be coming tomorrow. But, yeah, that's it for Marco Flores. That's Mr. Todd EVF right there. Go check him out. You know where to find him. You know it. Go to twitch.tv. Yeah, twitch.tv/Todd EVF. Go to youtube.com/The Insanity Chamber.
Yep.
And then, Twitter.
That's until the Precipice Podcast Network channel on YouTube gets an actual fucking URL as opposed to a weird ass string of users.
ULR75.
Yeah.
Crazy codes.
It's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Fuck you, YouTube.
Yeah, good old YouTube. It never fails. And I'm Wes Gardner, Comedy to Hobo. ComedyToHobo.com. Comedy to Hobo on Twitch, Facebook, But that's our time, guys. Episode 57, Brother and Around. We will catch you guys next week. Peace.